Thank you. Yes, like I said, it's a process. You can't transform a system in 4 years. In fact, it takes almost a generation. So we just started at the base where we headed. We want to make sure that a lot of the kids who graduate from our basic school system, by the time they leave, they have the orientation to work. We now need to put them through certain vocational training while they're in the junior schools. And then try and encourage a lot of them to go through technical school training so that they have skills by the time they've done the first 12 years of learning. How can the diaspora assist? I mean, the whole spectrum, because we've just scratched the surface. Depending on what areas of interest to you. At the basic level, for instance, you can go start from just providing playgrounds, items to kids, preschool kids in our school system, to adopting children in our school system. It costs about $40 per child per year under the Obaseki program. To volunteering when you have time, if you come home to just volunteering to support what the teachers are doing. To putting friends together to help with providing tables, chairs. And if we have enough money, nothing says you cannot help us with renovation of some schools. So, the important thing is that we have a very transparent platform, digitized platform for you to look into what's going on in any school that's of interest to you, and then tell us how you want to support.
That is really brilliant. You will be hearing from Edo Next Gen, the wider Edo community in the diaspora as well, as we continue to grow. And we just want to celebrate you and just say we're so grateful for progress. It is wonderful.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Joy, for that question. Ambassador Ehigem Soy.
Yes, thank you so much. We straight away to invite our next panelist for his question. It's a privilege to call on one of our own sons domiciled in the United States of America, doing us wonderfully proud. He's a man of great pedigree, almost a one-stop shop in terms of the things that concern humanity. Ladies and gentlemen, allow me to welcome Daddy Rich to the platform.
Thank you. Yes, Your Excellency, it's good to see you again. Thank you so much for taking time out of your busy time. And we all know how it is in Benin right now. First time I met you in New York City when you came with President Buhari, I was the one that was insisting that you must take a picture with the few those that were in that conference that day when some few Nigerians were selected to meet Buhari. So that being said, so I don't take much of at the time. I am from Ronigbe South, in Orion local government area, where I have actually first-hand witnessed the deplorable healthcare service in rural area. I have personally, on my own, donated some beds, hospital beds, and collectively, we also donated a lot of hospital equipment to Ronigbe Hospital via Ronigbe Association USA. Now, tell us the mega agenda. If the mega agenda has some kind of a blueprint of how the government can collaborate with people like us and associations in a way that people in diaspora can contribute and to harmonize this diaspora market in a way to alleviate some of this problem in healthcare services in rural area. So if somebody have an accident in a little village before he's taken all the way to the 3-4 towns away, the person's chances of surviving is very, become very, very low. Please, tell us what is in place in this mega agenda.
Thank you very, very much. Thank you for the interest and assistance you try to provide to the community.
Are we having another glitch? That's great. I must thank you for your very comprehensive question. I'm sure His Excellency will be back soon. This network is going to stabilize.
He's there.
All right. Welcome, sir.
Yeah. So thank you again, Daddy Rich, for your support. You're right. For us, just like with education, healthcare is also very critical. And we have in our mega agenda a mega plan, a well thought out rollout plan for healthcare. The good thing about the mega agenda is that we're just not starting from scratch. The mega agenda was built on our experience over the last 4 years. And what has been our experience in healthcare? The experience in healthcare has not been too pleasant. And at the base of the crisis in the healthcare system is governance. How do you coordinate the activities of the entire medical chain? Where do you start from? What do you emphasize? For us, we decided to build from the base. The base and the emphasis is on primary health care. And when we came into government, we found out that you have close to 400 or more so-called primary healthcare centers that have been built across the state. Most of them uninhabitable. People just gave out contracts and built things, which they call primary healthcare center, which had nothing of content. So what we've done is to focus first on basic care, primary health care, and try to show what primary health care should be like. First, it's about people. You have to train your health workers, particularly the community health workers and the nurses who man those centers. Secondly, you have to make them, livable. You have to make them, you have to make sure the infrastructure is one that works for them. How can you have a primary healthcare center without flowing water? How can you have a primary healthcare center without electricity and babies are being delivered at night with torches? So for us, it's about fixing the basic healthcare facilities, training the people, the healthcare workers, the first responders on what to do, ensuring that there's a basic infrastructure like light, water, and security, and also making sure that you put in place the technology, just like we've done with our school systems. We're working with a group of consultants who have developed technology in which we have trained these healthcare workers so that when you come into a primary healthcare center, at least some basic record is kept. Your biodata is put in the system, your health status, your blood pressure, your pulse rate, all the basic data are captured in there, and that data is uploaded so that, by the time somebody is doing a review of cases for the day and sees that there's a patient whose blood pressure is abnormally high, then the doctor will now say, look, go get that patient for me so that I can attend to. And so for us, it's about building the basic healthcare system. We've done the first prototypes, one by local government. We're now increasing the rollout by the end of this year. I expect that we would have rolled out at least 100 of such centers across the 18 local governments of the state. We have created what you call a basic health care agency. That is that's a reform that's going on nationwide. So we've created a primary healthcare agency, which is a separate agency that we're moving all the community health workers into, so that we can track them, we can train them, we can upgrade their skills, and then we can also raise money to ensure that the system is well funded. The second pillar in our healthcare program is secondary care. But secondary care becomes viable when you have a primary healthcare system that works. Because, the general hospitals, general hospitals we are refurbished across the state should not be with the first point of contact with the healthcare system. You shouldn't be going to general hospital to treat malaria or to treat typhoid. Those can be dealt with at the primary healthcare center, such that our secondary care centers, our general hospitals, become reference points. We also, and then because you have enough data on the people who are being referred, you understand the cases, they can now deal with more complicated cases. The third plank of our healthcare reform is collaboration with the private sector. Today, the private sector is a large provider in the health space, so you cannot ignore them. And so we'll have to work out mechanisms, methods to collaborate actively. There's no reason why a private practitioner from the clinic cannot refer and attend to cases of his or her patient in our general hospital. And we just focus on the issue of standards and making sure that people can pay for the healthcare they receive. This fourth plank of our system is healthcare financing. All of you, wherever you are in the world, know today that you don't go to the hospital and pay cash. There is always some financing through a health insurance system available. We have established a health insurance system in Edo State under our Edo Health Improvement Program. And we're completing the actual studies as we speak. And we're coming out with the rates we believe people should pay, and they should be affordable. If you have plans where people pay 50 naira a day or 100 naira a day, that means they pay 500 naira a week, 2,000 naira a month, 24,000 naira a year. That sort of package should be able to give you some basic care and basic cover for the family. So the healthcare financing is one of the key plans that we're working on, and we have I hired someone, the agency is running, they have a very competent young man running the process. And then lastly, training. We're revamping and reopening state nursing school and also the School of Nursing and Midwifery first quarter next year. We're working on the accreditation now. We want to make sure it's a very high standard, high quality, because at the end of the day, it's the aftercare that is critical. I'm sure many of you would like to come home with medical missions and treat people and help. But when you leave, what happens? You need people who understand how to now care for these patients. So in a nutshell, those are the building blocks of the healthcare reforms which we will undertake under our MENDA program. The good thing is that we have started. The basic legislative reforms are in place. The key people, key drivers have been hired. And what we need to do immediately on September 19th is to just begin a massive rollout. As I speak, the reason why I'm so conversant with the healthcare system is that over the last 120 days, I have met as the head of the COVID response team. I worked with the healthcare system every day. I meet with them at 9 a.m. every day, and that has really opened my eyes to the state of healthcare and why it's what it is. But I am optimistic. We have very brilliant people. We are the center. We're a medical hub. Our goal is that Edo will be the medical hub because we have what it takes. We have 3 federal government, federal health institutions.
Excellency.
Specialist hospital on infectious diseases in Iroa. Over the last 40 years, we've produced high quality medical personnel, UPTH in the state. So we have the people, we have the location. Healthcare is viable. It's good business, and we're seeing a lot of, in the last 1 year alone, we've seen about 3 or 4 very high-end hospitals come to open in Benin City. If the conditions for it were not there, I'm not sure the investment would have been made. But I am very optimistic that before I leave office in 2024, we will have the best medical system, at least in our sub-region. We are revamping the Stella Obasanjo Hospital. Right now, it's a COVID treatment center, but we finalized the plans, the drawings, and we will be moving the general hospital there. We are raising money to buy equipment, the high-end equipment. The The Edo Specialist Hospital had, we've, trying to fix, the problems in the hospital. We've now opened, it's it is a high-end hospital, and our plan is to invite investors. We're working with the IFC as we speak on a study. We will invite investors to come and now invest in the specialist hospital in areas like oncology, in renal medicine, areas where the sort of diseases people used to travel to India and other places for to treat. There's really no reason why we cannot treat them in Edo State. One thing we have, which I know will make the healthcare infrastructure work, is electricity. Because one of the biggest problems with healthcare operations in Nigeria is electricity. You imagine a doctor undertaking a high-end operation, and then BDC goes or the power goes. What happens? Or you buy a very expensive CT scan or MRI machine, and in the middle of scanning, power goes. Most of our equipment just gets destroyed because of unreliable power. But that we have cured. We now have very reliable 24/7 power, from an IPP that will lighten up, will power these hospitals. So we're very, very optimistic that under our mega project, fix the issue first, people, making sure that we have well-trained healthcare professionals from the basic level through nurses, through the high-end specialized trained medical personnel, that we have very good quality infrastructure, that we have the supportive technology, thanks to telemedicine. I'm sure from wherever, no matter if we have very complicated cases, people can help treat from outside Edo State. And then just creating the general environment for healthcare to thrive by making sure that there's money in financing, because healthcare is not cheap. Thank you. I don't know if I answered your question.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency, for that very detailed response. Just to remind the House that if we all please mute our microphones, and we should all be patient. The Excellency will take questions from the Zoom crowd as well. Osage, Losahai, Delphine, Omofomanloki, and Meg Edoahiambari, well done for your comments. You have said the governor has answered this last question very well. Desiree Tisdall, thank you for greeting everybody. The next panelist needs no introduction. He will introduce himself and ask questions. He's a common name in the Nigerian household. Oris Milikit.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening, Your Excellency.
Good evening, Oris. How are you?
I'm very well, sir. I want to thank the organizers of this event. And Your Excellency, I'd like to reveal to you that we have one great thing in common, and that is the name. My middle name is Godwin. And 90% of Godwins are warriors and conquerors.
Yes, because God will always win.
Exactly. That is why I'm not afraid of whatever battle you face. And that's why I say this. Warende Matiel Okaku. Okaku no Sager home. Eno Sager home. I me a pay no beruta. Ogade Motaro. Ogade Vijeke. Olugbe Feya Kede. Where you tugare? I me fiki Isugakwa. Iyare. Obaseki. Iyare. Oh. Iyare. Iyare. Erugayore. Thank you very much, Your Excellency. Having said that, I have two questions. Number one would just go as simply as a leader who knows the value of technical education, having education being a basic requirement for the 21st century job creating and empowerment strategy. What strategic plans do you have in making it part of the Edo State tertiary educational curriculum, just like you have it in Edo State Basic Education Board. And to what extent can it in part lead to ensuring the Edo State no longer produces universities, polytechnics, and colleges of education graduates with just theoretical knowledge and no practical experience in their various fields?
Thank you very, very much. I mean, it's like you were reading our minds. You recall that after I took over in November 2016, the day I took over, the first visit I made was to Benin Technical College, just to emphasize the importance that we place on technical education. And don't forget, when I started, I said, we must look at education as one for employment. And the bulk of the employment is going to come from the technical areas. But you've got to make sure that the children have a solid basic foundation first. Because for them to be able to appreciate technical training, the basics must be there. They must know how to count, they must know how to measure, they must know how to convert tables, and all the things that you need to read manuals and follow through with what you need to do technically. And so for us, what we've looked at is, look, let's really follow the new educational system we have, the new educational design, which says that when a child is 6 years old, you go into primary school, you do your first 6 years, then you're now going to a junior. After you finish your first 6 years, you then graduate into a junior school. You must, at the junior school level, begin to now expose the children, expose young people to the vocations, to some technical training. That is where it starts. Not heavy-duty ones, but at least they must know, the basics about technical education. They must be able to measure, they must be able to do some basic design. And then after those 3 years, they then have two streams. You either go straight into a technical school, or you go into a secondary school. If you go into a secondary school, then that prepares you for university and other professions. But if you go to a technical school, then by the time you spend 3 years, you will have come out with in addition to your NECO, you come out with a trade certificate, either in auto mechanics or hotel management, whatever it is. And then after that, you can now go into polytechnic or wherever to now get your diplomas. So first, it's about thinking through how to make it work. Secondly, it's about ensuring that you're clear as to what you're training these children for. Government cannot do it alone, so there must be the partnership with the private sector. So if I find a child who says he's interested in music after JSS 3 and now goes into senior secondary school, that child should be able to, be trained or have exposure to learn music, right? And therefore, the school must have the facilities, the teachers to train that child in that specific technical area they're interested in. But there must be a market. You must have people like you who are ready to employ them so that they can intern. And that way they can now relate the theory to the practice. So there has to be a handshake as you build out your technical education. And that is what we are doing. Thanks, we've gotten grants from the World Bank. We're working on it. Yes, we've refurbished the Technical College. We're going to do that in Iroa and that in Nigara the next 1 year. We now have a prototype. We are fixing the School of Agriculture. We are fixing, in Benin, in Ikwaraki, in Uromi, and in Akenagoda. These are going to be the tertiary institutions that will help finish and find, with these children who have decided to go the technical way. But more importantly, we are now having to look for businesses to now partner with government so that the people we're training have the benefit of the exposure while they are receiving training. Because we are not building manpower for government alone, we are building it for industry. And by the grace of God, when our industrial park takes off, that will create a veritable hub for training and, for just training these children in practical studies, in practical things to do. But more importantly, one of the big, it will give us the manpower we need to train people in technical subjects. Because the biggest challenge we have today, we don't have many teachers who can teach technical subjects. So if we have more industry, we have people in industry who can partner with the schools and impart some of the experience and knowledge they require into the children while they're in school and receiving technical education. We are also making sure that we make technical education hip. We make it, the thing to do. Everybody wants to go to university, but you don't need to go to a university because, you can still achieve what you want to achieve by going through a technical school. And nothing says you stop your education when you finish your technical school. You can still get the degrees you want, but the degrees have to be relevant. Degrees should be more than certificates. The last bit is the universities themselves. Once we are able to start this process with the technical schools and the polytechnics, we will naturally graduate into the universities, so that the universities now begin to adapt and change their curricula to ensure that as the graduates they produce, the graduates who begin to work, who begin to have practical experience while they are still in school. They don't want to produce pharmacists who have never been into a pharmacist shop or, while they're in school, or they're not interned with pharmacy stores. Or we don't want to produce, food technologists who have nothing, they just read through it in school and they come out and they say they want a job. Nobody will, because you're going to spend too much time training them all over again. So those are the things we're looking at, and that's the basis of, the technical training, technical building and making it a great again, because we need to build in our people a lot of technical skills so that the industries we're hoping to attract, businesses we're bringing in, have a ready-made pool of manpower. It will be really sad if we attract all these businesses and our people are not trained to work for them. We don't want the kind of xenophobia you're seeing in South Africa today.
Thank you so much, Your Excellency, for that wonderful response. It looks like you're really, really prepared for us. For sure, the questions thrown at you is like they're making brick walls and you're nailing them like no man's business. We appreciate you for that. Thank you.
Thank you.
On a light-hearted note, let me quickly throw this in the mix, because some of the feedbacks that we have also found is the fact that people misunderstand your poise, your dedication, commitment, and the result-oriented person that you are. People misunderstand it somehow. People talk, say, this man, they're not a smart on his face. This man, he too work hard, they rest. In fact, he don't shift this thing enter government house. Government house they bubble before. People just work out for 3 years, the next thing you know, because they get connection with government house, they just bounce gates and enter inside there. Restaurant they inside there, everybody go there, go great, go job. Bubble. Sometimes what I need to do for government, they know they happen. So boys now for street, they feel somehow say, this governor, since where he come, everything don't change. Even you yourself, Your Excellency, what do you see concerning this observation when people get concerning this?
Well, my brother, the thing what I mean is say, you don't feel the bubble when money not there. You don't feel the bubble when this is something that really happen. But when I come, everybody say, this is a government bank. Just come in, may come, say, you know, say work the government. In time, when person must spend just the gist, you know how many things you're supposed to do by that time. So government not serious business. So that's why when people say they get simple agenda for the last time, I said this is not simple. It's not hard, but look, sometimes person who don't do 16, 18 hours, you see not finish because so many things when they not do before. So government not be play matter. Government not be the one when people they got take us up. You need to understand, say you want sacrifice, you want help fix something. You know, like Papa for house, you're going to play when you play. Yeah? Otherwise nothing will happen.
Very much for that response. That was yes. Governments not be play, not be single agenda. Government are mega work. That is what it is. It is what it is. So just to let the Zoom audience know that very soon we'll be kicking open the Zoom questions. But if I call on the ace broadcaster to ask our next question very quickly, the daughter of a politician herself. Amazing, Gebo. If she's not there, we can move on to Joy. Joy, she's ask oh, excellent. Can you hear me now? Yes, we can.
We can hear you, Amazing. Your mic.
You move a little bit closer to your mic, Ameze.
It's muted.
No, she's not muted. Oh, she muted herself again.
Yeah, you just have to.
All right, okay. Can you hear me now? Yes, we can. Oh, okay. Your Excellency, sir, we need to, I would like you to answer the question. You talked about the general hospital as the story side.
Can you adjust your position a little bit? There's so much noise.
Yeah, could you possibly move closer again?
Can you hear me now?
Just
noise.
Quiet.
Okay. You want to start all over again, please?
Yes. I'm about the general hospital in Benin City. I'm really particular about it because I have the
sorry, Ameza, I think we probably need to pass for now because the microphone is crackling. We can barely hear you.
If you are using two devices, can you just put one off?
Yeah. So we could come back to you later, Ameza.
Can we mute? Can we just put you on mute and go on to Joy? Joy, you take your next question and then we'll come back to Ameza Igebo. Is that okay?
Yeah, that sounds like a plan.
All right, so Joy, you want to sound more again, please?
Joy, you ready?
All right,
Can you unmute yourself, Joy?
Can everyone hear me? I think so.
Yes, we can. And come close to your mic.
Okay, wonderful. So again, thanks to all the organizers on this call, Angela Loretta, Uncle Joe, amazing call with Your Excellency. Okay, sir. So this is a little bit more lighthearted. I love eating and I love cooking. Your favorite food?
Well, I eat everything. I eat everything. So clearly, as a Benin man, pounded yam, soup. Yeah, that's fun. But somehow I try and make sure, I don't know why, but just I'm a dodo freak, so every day you try and ensure that if you're not eating pounded yam, every meal you have rice, beans, has dodo bits.
Fantastic.
That is one. And this one final part there was, in addition to the question of podcast, even on the chat, people are just saying it's not as much as a partner with the government that it's tasked with engaging with us in the diaspora, so we can stop them.
Yes, like I said in my last interaction with you, the diaspora is one of our biggest assets. And I can tell you, I built, I built a road, and before you know what, it's full of houses. And bulk of those funding for those houses are not coming from the Nigerian banking system. It's coming from outside. So the partnership with the diaspora is I think there's fluctuation. Network is kind of stable.
Yeah. His Excellency will be back with us soon.
Yes.
There must be fluctuations from the network. Are you back, Your Excellency? No. In the interim, can Ameze Igebo please get ready because he'll be taking her question next. I think you may just need to reposition your mic, Ameze, in such a way that you speak directly into it. All right. Thank you very much, Ma. You hear me now? Yes, I can hear you now. We are just waiting on His Excellency to come back. Okay.
It's amazing that, something typical with all Edome, or majority of Edome, this pounded yam thing. We welcome this part of the world. I say, too much carbohydrate, too much that. We will come to do now, because if His Excellency is also a pounded yam fan.
The difference is that His Excellency is exercising. He will move from one local government to the other, and you will eat your own and not do all that work. Oh boy.
In fact, we don't even get the sun. The sun not there here to help to burn it, So I totally agree. But again, there you are. That's life.
Amazing. Could you please check your mic? If you are using two devices, put one off.
Is that?
Find a way to steady your microphone.
Oh, you say device close to your mic. There's a device and a magnetic kind of interference with your mic. You have a magnetic device, it could be a phone, the radio, anything that is actually altering.
At this juncture, I think
because
there must be something. When you get
battery.
The
battery power was getting good.
I think she's running out of battery, she said.
I had to plug it. That's the only thing here.
Okay, that's really the problem. That's electricity.
Yeah.
Do you have a USB to plug it on your laptop so you can take it off your power grid?
Well, while we allow that to be taken care of, just want to quickly flag up here that at this juncture, I think what His Excellency has done so far by way of his engagement is well commended, considering the distractions taking place at home at the moment.
Yes.
It's just equal to what happened last year, June last year, when they came to visit us for the UK Business Summit, Investment Summit. And also there were so many distractions at home.
It's back on. The Excellency is back on.
Back on, wonderful. Welcome back, Your Excellency.
There is a lag in the time frame of connection.
Right.
Just to say that we see many Zoom hands on, we will take the questions as they come. We've noted the hands that have been on. I actually saw Chief Acheleke Taku hands up for a while now. If he's in the... And there are so many hands on. Thank you to everyone, every single person. 39 hands on. Fantastic. This is actually engagement.
Loretta, Your Excellency is back on.
Excellent.
Okay.
Welcome back, Your Excellency.
So, Lawrence, I'm back on.
Thank you. So if we go straight to Ameze's question now, which she didn't take before, I know you ended on the note that the diaspora was very, very great asset. But just for the sake of time, if Ameza Igeboma, please, if you ask that question now.
Yes. Your Excellency, I just want us to look at the issue with the Central or General Hospital. I was discussing with Loretta and I said, well, I still have this feeling about that hospital. It's lying waste and nothing is done about it. Or maybe that's what I think. I'm sure your excellent position to governance would have made you thinking of how to make it work so that it will not just be like an elephant lying waste. So what's your take on it?
Thank you. No, it's not. Thank you very much. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Okay. On the contrary, it's not lying waste. What we've tried to do is we've tried to make sense out of the hospital, because in terms of its design, in terms the way the whole project was run a mess. But we've tried to make sense out of it. We've tried to bring in experts. We have a consultancy group now that's coming there, and they're now running, they now rebranded the section as Edo Specialist Hospital, with several several specialties. And if you went in there today to see what's going on, you'll be truly, really proud. It's been run, even though it's a government hospital, but it's not being run like a government hospital. It's been run as if it's a hospital. What we're trying to do, once we finish with Stella Passenger, we intend to now move every other specialization in the main, the old 90-year-old general hospital into Stella Passenger. We're expanding, this Stella Passenger hospital. I found my amazement. I found 30 hectares of land that had been earmarked into a mediplex almost 40 years ago, but it was abandoned. Now I'm going back and doing a redesign and rebuilding, expanding the Stella Passenger hospital. And I went into the bush around there one day, and I saw almost 500 pillars that had been abandoned. So we're rebuilding that hospital. Adjacent to it is the nursing school. We're going to rebuild it and move the general hospital there within the next 3 months, and then get private investors to come in and invest in that location where the general hospital is. So we're going to be expanding the specialist hospital. And now the dentistry, they have the best dialysis facility in the state there today. They have, accidents, emergency. So we are going to be investing, we're going to be looking for investors and working with the IFC to bring in investors to now help us with making sure that we get more resources. But today it's not wasting. I am sure I'll try and get the people, maybe next Saturday, we'll try and get the cameras in there and they'll do a walk around the wards and you see for yourself.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency. I'm sure, Madam Agnese Ngebo, you have your answer. If we move on to the next person on the panel, and if we really keep the questions brief, please, we need to open the Zoom house. His Excellency is very keen to engage with the people. So I'm going to call on Daddy Rich, please. Daddy Rich, if you want to ask your next question.
Just a second.
The one that's taking place always to answer as well.
I'm on mute now?
Yeah, fine.
All right. Yeah, Your Excellency, it was noted at the last Zoom meeting that the highest pick was when you spoke pidgin English. So that being said, I want my highest pick tonight. So I'm going to ask you the next question in pidgin English. And we're going to go back to education. which is something that I'm really passionate about. We are aware of we know all the good things, the building renovation. We know the Edo Best. We know about quality education that you are putting in place. Education not be by building or pen and barrel alone. Education involves training and acquiring skill. You go agree with me, say, Edo students need teacher, not only we know their subject, but we will fit, motivate, and inspire children. So the mega agenda, is there any steady stream within that agenda to take select this kind of teachers? We will bring not only the area of specialty where they know their subject, but we will bring that human skill to inspire children.
Let me just tell you true. For me, work, because I know if you talk of education, where I want to teach children how to speak English and how to get literary skills, and I will use broken talker. So let me go back and say it as it really is. That for us in the local, it's the system was broken, totally broken, right? Not because
I was beginning to enjoy that. We will soon be back. I think the thing is, he's going to answer your question that he just wants to package it in nice English, since he's the face of Edo Best, him and Joan Obiawe. So maybe they don't want to answer in colloquial English for now. But definitely,
he's back, Loretta.
His back, please.
Excellent.
Yeah. So as I was saying that the rich, for us, it's very serious business. I mean, because this is something that will transform lives. Do you know what it is? Like today, we have about 260,000 children, and hopefully we'll increase that number to about 500,000 children. And preparing those kids, over the next 10 to 15 years with knowledge, can you imagine the kind of power it will give to us? So, in whatever we're doing, we cannot take it lightly. We cannot, not put our best foot forward. We cannot make sure not recruit teachers the way we used to do before. We can't afford not to train our teachers, to global standards, because that's our future.
Thank you so much, Excellency.
Thank you.
Yes, that is very briefly.
Yes, I was just going to say that after the election, he's going to be the governor. We're going to do this again. I'm taking notes and I will remind and go through some of all these things again. I just want to put that there.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. We're moving straight away to the next panelist for the second question, and perhaps a round off of the questions from the panelists. Allow me to welcome again to the podium Oris Wileke, legendary Oris Wileke.
Thank you very much, Joe. Good evening once again, Your Excellency. Hello, can you hear me, sir?
We can hear you. I think you can hear you.
Yes, because looking at your busy schedule, I will tell you to say to me, I know MBU one cover. Because the kind of work where you they do, in moving Edo State forward, is one way be like, I can describe as a computer. So computers self they tire sometimes, and so you have to reboot and refresh. So when the brain gets stuck, wait till you can refresh your own brain.
Well, the truth is here. Look, not be say I work about it like that. The only time you see me now when I do work. When you don't see me, you don't know what they do, you know. Like for morning I wake up, I wake off, it's good, it's okay. I've not been partying the last several years, but there's just so much to do.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency, for that question. Thank you to all the panelists. We are moving on to the Zoom floor now. We are opening the floor now, and we can see a number of hands raised here. Ambassador Egiamusoy, you made note of some of the first hands raised. I want us to call it in that order.
Well, yes, absolutely. I mean, we want to thank everybody for this participation. But first on the numerous hands raised for question, we're going to call on Chief Achaleke Tabu. Your hand was first to be raised in all the hands there. Calling on Chief Achaleke Tabu, please.
Don't think he's here.
Yeah, I don't think so.
He's not there. The next one I saw was a lady who His Excellency told last week that he will be coming back. And she came in and put up her hands really, really early. Linda Osayame, please. Are you here?
She's
Linda
here,
Osayame.
yes. She's here.
Can you ask your question, please?
Can you unmute?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, good evening, everybody.
Hello.
My Excellency, good evening, and good morning here in Los Angeles. My name is Linda Osayame. I live here in Los Angeles, United States of America, and I'm a registered nurse by profession. Your Excellency, thank you so much for all you've been doing for our people of Edo State. You've been seeing your handwork, and I pray that the Lord Almighty continue to give you the strength to carry the Edo State forward. And I also want to thank the organizer of this platform. Thank you so much for putting this together. And also to our able leader, Mrs. Adisuwa Obasohan, the woman affair leader for the Edo women in diaspora for the re-election of our Excellency. So my first question is that the other day I was watching YouTube. I always follow everything up on YouTube about what's going on in Edo State for this election. I saw when they were asking people questions, the reason why they should vote for our Excellency or the reason why they don't want to vote for our Excellency. So one of the concerns that came up that I paid particular attention to was our Excellency is not giving jobs for our contractors in Edo State. That our contractors in Edo State do not have no more jobs. That all the jobs that is being done in Edo State is from people from Akwa Ibom, Port Harcourt, and Arabs. So please, if you can tell us the reason why our contracts in Edo State are not being patronized or promoted. Because when you give them jobs, they will also give jobs to our youth. So my other concern was also that on the other day, we also saw that they were protesting in a Fiadolo college. And a lot of us here in the United States, we don't know the reason why they were doing that protest. It was just organized by the opposition party, or is this something you did not do right? Also, like us on that.
Thank you.
Oh, that should be fine, ma'am. If we let other people have a chance, Madam Linda, thank you so much.
Thank you, Madam Linda. Thank you very much for this update. With politics, propaganda is part of the tools. Let me just tell you that more than any other government, more than my predecessors, I've given more work to local indigenous contractors. First, I have not brought any new contractor to Edo State. Maybe if I'm
sure we have a glitch again. Madam Linda, he will be answering your question as soon as he comes back to his loud move.
And the records are there to prove. Secondly, we've done a lot of roads, and that's one of the things people are very happy about. There is an association of indigenous Edo contractors, and we'll look for their numbers next. We can post their numbers, to give the numbers to them. And you can call them on your own. These are all Edo people who have gotten jobs. All the schools, the 350 odd schools we have renovated, they're all the local contractors and Edo contractors. But let me tell you what has happened. Before I came to government, what used to happen was that some people call themselves, they say they are the ones in government. They are the ones that have influence. They are the godfathers. They will ask you to give them the contract. Meanwhile, they don't have the companies to do the contract. They will take the contract and go and sell to other people. So a contract that I could, I priced and the profit margin is 30%. When I give it to you who does not have a company and don't have the competence, you want to go and sell it to somebody else. How can the person do that contract? So because they are not getting the contract is not going directly to the people who have the companies and will do the work. So they are the ones who are propagating all these lies that I'm giving work to the people from Aqua. Yes, they are not getting it. Doesn't mean that it's going outside of the room. They are not getting it because they don't have the capacity and competence to do the work. When you give them the work, they go and sell, and they take so much money that the contractor who eventually does it, does not have enough to complete the work and gives you a very sharp job. That is the problem. So they are not happy. So they are the ones saying, oh, we're giving work to people from outside the room and all that. Because they were the contractors who never did the contract. That is the issue. As for Ekedolo, when I came in, they claimed that they were being owed almost 1.something billion as pension and salary arrears. Meanwhile, the issue was supposed to be giving them 66 million every month, and they were supposed to be raising money for school fees and other things that were doing to complement. That is what we do for all schools. University of Ekoma, for instance, we give them a certain amount every month. We then decided, from a government, in government wisdom or whatever, decided that because we wanted to create a university in Edono, decided that they would give another university to Edosa and converted Kiadolo to a university of education and never put money in that school. The moment they converted it to, they said they converted it into the university of education, the staff of Kiadolo said it should automatically be absorbed and now become the staff of the university. You see, you don't do that. You don't create a university and carry the College of Education into the faculty. And they frustrated it. And we stopped, they stopped admission because we're preparing the school to become a university of education. And so they frustrated it. So these people who are protesting, for the last 4 years, they have never worked. They have not worked. And we've been giving them our own subvention of 66 million every month. So go and look for your own and pay yourselves. So next time it's political blackmail. But thank God, I went to President Buhari and I got him and said, look, this university thing will not work. Can you help me? And he was giving out colleges, federal colleges of education, and I said, please, give us one in Edo. And he was gracious enough to give us federal college of education. We have now said, okay, we're now going to site it in that premises. So it's the way they behaved in the past. How did they accumulate a debt for 1.2 billion? So I set up a panel of inquiry. I said, go and check and see how these people say they were not paid. For how long did they work that they did their pay? That what is being owed them is 1.2 billion. These are the sort of things that used to happen in government. And that's how we never found progress. So I'm happy today where federal government has taken over and we have given them the premises. It's going to be a federal college of education. They will recruit those who are qualified, they will be absorbed. Those who are not qualified, they will not be absorbed. In the meantime, we have set up Edo State College of Education with 3 campuses in Abudu, Ikwebe, and Afuze. They have refused. See, you have a situation where people just hold the state ransom because they think I will panic because elections are coming and they want to blackmail me. I will only do the right thing. People who haven't worked for 4 years, I don't know how they have claim to government money. People who refused to allow a university to take off, I don't think that means they were kind to Edo citizens. People who claim that people were owing them, let us investigate and find out how this debt came about.
Thank you very much, Excellency.
Thank you, Your Excellency. Please, in making Edo great again, please do not forget Orion local government area.
Thank you very much. Thank you for your question, and of course, thanks Your Excellency for that very apt response, because that is something that's been in the public domain everywhere, and like you really clarified, it is a political propaganda. You have a knack for efficiency, yes. And that's what the people also know you for. And if you are towing that line to be able to achieve that objective, I don't think it's fair to crucify yourself. Going forward, calling the next hand on the list, Katie Salami. Salami, if you are in the house, the floor is yours for your question, please. Katie Salami.
Can you unmute me?
Yeah, you are on mute.
All right. Good afternoon, Your Excellency.
Good afternoon, Katie.
Before I start, I just want to appreciate you. I appreciate your boldness. We consider you a fearless Obaseki, which you really are. Again, my name is Mrs. Katie Salami from California. My question, of course, you touched on it. That healthcare is viable and it's a good business. And healthcare is very important. I'm a first responder as we speak. I'm at work right now. But I'm taking the time during my lunch to address this issue because it's very important.
Can you hear me?
National Health Insurance Scheme is a positive and holistic vision. How do you and your team plan to optimize the uptake in the Make Edo Great Again, with special reference to the rural areas like this?
Thank you very much. I'm really, thankful for just a very clear question. I believe that first, for the reason why your health insurance system works is because people see what they are paying for. The service is provided. So the first thing for us is to provide the service to people. People are used to paying for service today anyway. And when government doesn't provide, what do they go? They seek other options like patent medicine stores, native doctors, they pay. So for us, under the Edo, making Edo great again, it's first, let us invest, let us do. It's not rocket science, to train and retrain the workers you already have. Look, yesterday I went to close a training session, and I was shocked that in Edo, we don't have trained first responders. People to attend to emergencies. I hear it's not part of our medical curriculum. And I found it was a shock. So I had to get a team who are certified by the American Medical Board to train people as first responders and for emergencies, to come and begin to train our medical personnel. That's how how much deficit you have in the healthcare system. So what we're doing is first, in the rural areas, let the healthcare system, the primary healthcare system work. Let the buildings be decent, have electricity, put water, put security, put some technology, train the medical attendants, the health workers there. Once you do that, then people will pay. It's, women when women are pregnant and they have to pay, they know they have to pay. They pay anyway. The private practitioners tend to have a lion's share of the medical business. But what we as government want to do when they're making Edo Great Again agenda 2 things. First, define the role of government. First, government as a provider, right? Make sure the quality you provide is what should set the standard. Secondly, government as a regulator to make sure that the insurance agency is put in place all the things, the standards that practitioners, whether it's your government or your private practitioner, that those standards are laid out and they are met. It's when you have done that, can you now legitimately charge as people to pay? And with the health insurance scheme anyway, they will now check to make sure that what they are paying for is for the service that was truly rendered. We are controlling our health insurance. There's a state program, there's a national program, but we believe that we have to take our lives in our hands. We are not too clear as to why the national program hasn't worked since it was set up more than a decade ago. So what we are doing is to do it right, do it the Edo way. And I'm certain that from the evidence to date, we will make Edo much greater in healthcare provision. Thank you.
Thank you.